I'm cleaning the AC coils in a Chevy Tracker. First start with removing the AC blower motor, which is held mostly in place by that 12 millimeter nut. Loosen that and 2 top bolts up there, and the motor's assembly will slide right out. Then unplug this bottom connector. There's a top connector, and then there's also this retention wire that controls the opening for the flap. And for ease of accessing the top plug, there's these 2 little tabs, one on each side. This one right here, very gently. What I did was very gently push in on the glove box so it clears the rest of the pieces. It slides right out, and there's the plug right there. Looks like this. Have to do a little wiggling to get it out of there. That tension wire goes onto this lever, onto the stud, and it controls inside air or outside air. And next I am going to spray this cleaner, this foaming cleaner, on the coils and let it sit for a little bit. I'm probably going to have to repeat this steps a few times. I put some paper down just in case of splatter. Put this can directly in front of the opening in case of excess spray. And I'm wearing eye protection to prevent splatter from getting into my eyes. The directions say not to spray directly onto electrical wires or connectors, so I covered the exposed wire as best I could with some plastic. And I'm going to go ahead and spray, but there's not enough room down here in this tiny space to take video while I'm spraying, so I'll have to take pictures after. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for a little bit and come back and check on it when it dissipates. Round 1. Tough to say for sure, but 22 years of buildup and grime, it looks a little better. On to round 2. Okay, well, wait for that one and go again. About a half dozen times. I think it's working. I've sprayed it and let it dissipate at least 8 times. It does look a lot better. I just removed the bag that was protecting the wire, and you can see where the bag was covering. Some of the stuff is, the buildup is still there. I'm going to take a small toothbrush and try and wipe it off very gently without bending any of those ridges, and then put it all back together. This is what drained out of the AC system after spraying it all down. That should be clear. After using a toothbrush, try to clean off a little bit more of the buildup that I could. A little tough since you can't really see when you're doing it. It looks a little better. I bent some of the fins, but it should be okay. Well, I should say I bent some of the fins that weren't already bent a little. And reassemble now and then test it. So, snapped in place. I already got the the metal rod or wire reconnected. And when putting the glove box back, same thing, just push in a little bit and it'll clear these tabs on both sides. Reseated back on that bolt. I need to tighten it down shortly. And insert this plug. Snaps back in place. Make sure that's seated. And then tighten down that 12 millimeter bolt. I almost forgot. When you're reseating the blower motor, make sure it slots into the housing. And then there's these gaskets that go in place on all 4 sides. I've got 2 of them. I need to go get some material to make 2 more, or you'll end up blowing all of your air conditioning and your heating into your passenger side floorboard. There's also 2 top bolts up there. Line that up to hold the top of the blower motor in place. And be very careful with your hood release cable. It can get in the way right there. Now that it's all complete, back together, one note is when you're test driving it, roll your windows down because little dust particles will be flying everywhere after the cleaning. But other than that, works great.